Okay, I just came back from work, and so I'm back. I'm back now, and I'm using the phone instead of the camera right now. I'm using my phone. I'm using an Android phone. Um, but I'm just going to get right into it, because I just think that doing is better than planning to do. So, got started. Show you some of my products. Most people are hip. But basically, this is what I'm going to be talking about. I've been setting up my office, and I found some old artwork, and I need to just get into how all of this started. But it's kind of hard. So I have pictures here from old brands that I've worked on, and I tried to start a brand twice. So technically, I tried to start a brand 3 times. So this is my 4th try. What I didn't realize is that I didn't give up. I turned my attention to music, and I gave a lot of my attention to music, but this was always on my mind. And I always needed to do this. And starting about, I think, 20 years old, when I was 20, I'm 27 now. When I was 20, I knew that I needed to change. I knew that I needed to become a graphic designer, or I wanted to be a graphic designer, because I knew that that would be a way for me to make money and use art. Because when I graduated and I was senior year, everyone's like, you can't be an artist. Art doesn't make money. And my whole life, since I think I was about 10, I discovered that I had a passion and a secret God-given ability for drawing. I always thought I was going to be an artist, but as high school's closing, I'm thinking, hey, I need to get a real job. I need to become a nurse or something like that, because that's what people were telling me. There was a lot of pressure, so I lost my way for a long time, but every year until last year, 2017, or 2016, when I knew I needed to start a business instead of working, and I needed to be my own boss, when I came to the conclusion that I needed to do this. But first, what I was first going to do, when I realized that I needed to start a business, I wanted to start a food truck business, because I did a lot of research, and I thought that that would be the ideal business. And I did all the research necessary, and I realized that I'm gonna need about $250,000, somewhere $200,000, to get a great food truck thing going. I'd be about $200,000 in debt. So, and then I realized that I can either get a house, or I can start my business. But the business could later on, after a lot of hard work, pay for, the house. But then I realized also that I don't want to be stuck in a food truck. I like people, but I don't like cooking that much. I don't like cleaning that much. I don't like customer service that much. I don't want to be stuck cooking, being the boss and the worker of a food truck. Those aren't my passions. So I realized I need to do something with the ability and what I learned. Now, I have no schooling, no college, okay? So I didn't go to college. So I graduated in 2009 from high school. I was about a B+ student. I wasn't very bad, but I was lazy, and I was easily distracted, and I was focused on the wrong things. So, but when I was about 19 or 20, I realized that it just kept coming to me, even though I was focusing a lot on music. Every year would come to me about, like, at least 3-4 times a year that I need to do art, that I need to learn, like, Adobe Illustrator. And that's been my goal since I was 20, was to learn Adobe Illustrator. And I still have not learned Adobe Illustrator. Barely. Use fonts and do little things, but I just couldn't get into it. Tried to teach myself on YouTube, and I just couldn't get into it. So, but I knew that I didn't want to be in a food truck. So then I was like, I need to make a business that has to do with music, fashion, and art. I've always loved art. Art is number one. I have a passion for art. Two, music. I grew to love it. I learned how to make it. I had people around me who showed me how. And with time, I got better at it because I was very persistent with it. And then fashion. I like to say I was adopted into fashion because I was poor. And I'm the oldest of five, and my parents couldn't really afford to make me fashionable. So I was never fashionable. But I always would see like the people who were fashionable and aspire to be like them. Like I wish that when I grow up, I'm going to be, that guy that's always well dressed. So I aspired to that. So I've always had a thing for fashion, and as soon as I, got my first job and I started making my own money, then I started getting into fashion, buying clothes and shoes, etc. So those are the things that I really am passionate for, and I realized that I needed to do that. And little did I know that tied in with something that I already had, that I already liked, and that was bandanas. Bandanas is right between art, fashion, and music. It's always been in music. Bandanas have always been in music, no matter what genre. And that's where I got my influence from, is from one of the best combos that ever was. Is Lil Wayne and Joel Santana, I Can't Feel My Face. And that was my inspiration. So I had been wearing bandanas since about like 2010. You see on my channel, there's a video called Rose. I'm wearing a bandana there. I've been wearing bandanas since then. You can see my first two videos, my first two videos, I was wearing bandanas. I actually have one of these bandanas right over here, and I'm putting it here so I can remind myself where I started and where I was at one point. So it didn't hit me. I thought about it before I actually started the brand and actually started speaking into existence. I thought about it for about a year. It would come and go, but I was thinking about it consistently. Like, is it possible? Could I bring something back? Because I knew fashion. What's a fashion rule? Fashion always repeats itself. And that's what I learned. By just aspiring, just wanting to be in fashion, I noticed that it was just always things repeating. Wasn't really a lot of originality. So I'm like, okay, so that was the loophole. I had to find where fashion was going to repeat again. So I came up with the idea, I'm going to create the loophole. I'm going to make the next thing come back. I'm going to push the agenda on what's the next thing to come back. And I had a feeling it could be bandanas, but it needed a push. And that's exactly what I went for. I took that push. I took that necessary push, and I do believe I am one of the major influences to bringing it back, to bringing bandanas back and making it a thing again. And it's going to be a different thing. And me and very few people in the world who had this idea to bring it back and who love bandanas so much, we're just going to do it. We're going to make it happen. And so it's coming to fruition. Most people are catching on now. They see it, but they're too late. For us who have been thinking about it for a while, we already know, and we're ahead of the game. So, and this is what ahead of the game looks like. I think I'm gonna do a separate video though. Separate video on the designs and whatsoever, and more on that. But I think I missed some pieces, but that's basically it. About how it all came to be. I'll get into more details later. I'm gonna draw, but I have my station set up. It's looking good. Thinking about even doing some interviews here. I'm gonna truck on bandanas. We're gonna make sure to try to cover all bandana grounds. But other than that, let's do some podcasts. Let's talk some rap beef, maybe some Dragon Ball Z, and maybe interview some rappers. I think I'm gonna interview some rappers. That would be great. Yeah. So subscribe. Click that link. More's coming and it's only going to get better. Whether I use this phone or I use the camera, the quality's going to switch up. I'm still going to be consistent. I'm going to get it done. And that's what's important. Pro out.